Okanagan Regional Library. Today I'm going to show you how to grow a garden using vegetable scraps from your kitchen. I've got 5 different vegetables today that I'm going to demonstrate on how to grow. Let's get started. The first vegetable I have are carrots. Just regular average carrots I've got here. So what I'm going to do, and if you're a child or a kid, you can get an adult to help you with this. I'm going to take my carrot and using a sharp knife, I'm going to cut about an inch or so off the top. So now I've got the top of the carrot right here, and I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Now my carrots, I'm going to set these aside to eat for later. So the carrot tops, what we're going to do is we're going to place these in a shallow bowl. So you want something that's got a nice wide base, it's nice and shallow. I'm going to place them in the bowl, and then I'm going to pour some water in just about halfway up the carrot. So you can see now that the water is not completely covering the carrots, just about halfway up. And you're going to want to change your water every couple days. And after about 3 to 5 days, you'll start to see right out of the top little tiny green sprouts. And out of the sides of the carrots, you'll see tiny little white roots starting to come. Now when you see the sprouts coming out of the top and the roots coming out of the side, it's time to plant your carrots. So what you're going to do is you're going to just get any kind of old pot. You can also do this right into the garden outside, but if you want to plant them inside, just get a pot, put some soil in your pot, and then you're going to take them out of your water and just very carefully plant them just in the top here. And you're going to place that in a sunny window and water it every day. And after a few weeks, you're going to have vegetable greens growing out of the top of your carrot that you can eat. Now moving on, the next vegetable I'm going to show you is lettuce. Here I have a head of romaine lettuce from the grocery store. So I'm just going to place this on its side. Again, getting help from an adult for this part, and I'm going to cut the bottom of the lettuce off. So maybe about 2 inches or so. Now my lettuce, I'm going to set this aside, bag it up for salads, whatever I need it for this week. And then what I have left is the base of the lettuce. Now it doesn't have to be romaine lettuce. You can do this with green leaf lettuce, with lots of different lettuce varieties. I've done it with multiple different kinds. So again, you're going to want a shallow dish. So we're going to take this and we're going to place it cut side or the base side down, and we're going to place water into it about halfway up. So here we go. Maybe that's a little bit too much. There we go. So now we're about halfway up the lettuce, and we're going to place this in a nice warm place. And after about 3 to 5 days, right out of the top in the middle here, you're going to start to see new lettuce leaves growing. So once you see new lettuce leaves growing, and you'll see little roots coming out of the bottom, kind of like the carrots, again, you can plant it right outside directly into your garden, or you can plant it right into a pot right here. So you're going to carefully take it out of your water, and make sure you change your water every 2 to 3 days just to make sure you don't get any slime or rot happening in your water. And then you're going to plant this just like so. Try to be careful that you don't damage the tiny little delicate roots that are coming out of the bottom. And after a while, this is going to grow a whole new head of lettuce, which you can just keep harvesting. Okay. The next thing I'll show you is, again, similar to the way that lettuce and carrots grow. I'm going to show you how to grow celery. So here I have some celery. Got a whole bunch. And I'm going to take my knife, get help with this from an adult, And I'm gonna cut about maybe 2.5 inches or so off of the bottom. Got my lettuce to eat for later. Not my lettuce, my celery to eat for later. And then here I have my celery base. Again, this is just like the lettuce and the carrots. You're gonna take a shallow dish of water, place the base in just like that. Now you've got water about 1 inch or so up the side. And after 3 to 5 days or so, you're gonna see tiny little lettuce or celery shoots coming out of the middle of the celery here. And then once that starts to happen, again, you can plant it directly outside into your garden or into a small pot here, just how we did before with the lettuce, being careful not to damage your roots. Place it in a sunny window and make sure you water it regularly. Again, after a while, this is gonna grow a whole bunch of new celery. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is ginger. So this is just some typical ginger from the store. So what you're going to want to do is just kind of break off one of these little chunks of ginger. So here we go. So this is what we're looking for. Something about this size. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it, place it in a glass of water and let it soak overnight. Here I've got some ginger that I soaked last night, and it's ready for planting. Now you're going to want to place this one directly into soil. So we've got all these little eyes here. This is where it's going to sprout out of your ginger. So you're going to place it into your soil and just lightly cover it up. Place it in a warm spot, not too hot, and make sure you water it regularly. After a little bit, you're gonna see some ginger greens coming up out of it. And then in about 2 to 3 months, if you keep watering this and keep this alive, you can actually start to harvest the ginger itself. So when you're ready to harvest the ginger itself, you're just gonna move the soil aside from the side of the pot, and you'll see that that ginger root has spread underneath. And just break off whatever you need for your recipe. And if you keep doing that, you can actually just harvest indefinitely off of this one little piece of ginger. Kind of fun, because then you just have your own little ginger plant going. And the last thing I'm going to show you today is garlic. So here we have a head of garlic from the grocery store. So we're going to take a couple cloves off of this. Now there's 2 ways of planting this. The first way that you can plant it is you can plant it directly into the garden in the fall. So if you plant your individual cloves into the garden with this part pointing down and the spiky part pointing up about 1 inch down, 1.5 inches or so, come the spring, you'll get garlic shoots coming up. And if you wait till about halfway through the summer, July or so, and you harvest it, you'll have a whole new clove or a whole new head of garlic down there. But the other way that we can do inside is we're going to take these and just take off most of the extra paper or so. And you can see some of these, they're already starting to sprout. They're ready to go. And you're going to place these in a shallow dish. You might have to play around with this to get them to stand up. You might even have to do a cup, something like that, because what you want ideally is you want them to all be standing up. And you're gonna soak them in some water. This bowl is actually too wide. I would want to get a cup that I can balance these in. So if you keep them like this, After a few days, you're gonna get garlic shoots coming out of the top. And those are really yummy. You can just chop those, you can have them on your eggs, your baked potatoes, anything like that. That's something really fun to do. Now I started some vegetables a couple weeks ago to show you guys what it's gonna look like. So this was about 2 weeks ago. I took 3 carrot tops. So they started looking like this. And then I started them in the water and they got the tiny little sprouts. And then when I saw the tiny little sprouts, I planted them in just a little pot with regular garden soil, and I watered them and I placed them in a sunny location, and now they look like this. In another couple weeks, they'll be up to here. And you can grow these and you can eat these, the tops. They're really good for you. And the lettuce, I did a lettuce a couple weeks ago. Same thing. I put it in the water. It started to grow right out of the middle. And now you can see I've got a whole new head of lettuce growing. Now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this out of the pot and put it right outside into my garden. And that way, it's just gonna keep on growing and I can just keep on harvesting it. Thanks for joining me today. Have fun and happy planting.